Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So it's been a really busy last couple of weeks for me. Posted a lot of videos on this channel as well as on my other channel, TechStation 365, where we just crossed 1000 subscribers. So that's pretty amazing. So it's been a really busy weekend. It was a lot of stress, so I just went on a vacation. But now I'm back to making videos. So without any further ado, let's get to the topic of this video, which is the MSI GF63. So the MSI GF63 has just been refreshed with the new Intel Core i5-11400H. So this MSI GF63 existed for some time now with the 3050 model with the Intel Core i5-10500H, and I got a lot of comments on this laptop and a lot of queries whether people should buy this or not. Now, I was always on the fence of recommending this laptop because of my experience with the Intel Core i5-10500H inside the MSI GF65 with the GTX 1660 Ti. I have detailed reviews on the MSI GF65, detailed testing, thermal testing, undervolting, game testing, temperatures, everything I have done on my channel with the 1660 Ti model. And so my experience with the Intel Core i5-10500H has not been entirely positive because it requires a lot of tuning, undervolting, to maintain temperatures and to tame the processor inside the MSI GF65. So the i5-10500H is a very inefficient CPU. It is good for gaming, it has got high clock speeds and all those things, but it is super inefficient and requires so much power that it makes the whole laptop experience really bad. That's why I was always on the fence. I didn't openly recommend the MSI GF63 with the i5-10500H. I never openly recommended it. But ever since then, MSI has actually refreshed the model with a new Intel Core i5-11400H, which is a much improved processor over the Intel Core i5-10500H. The 11400H is actually similar to Ryzen 5 5600H. It is slightly slower than a 5600H when you use it at regular TDPs like 45 watts, 50 watts. But if you give the 11400H like 60 watts, 65 watts, then the 11400H will beat the 5600H. But overall, the 5600H is still superior. It is still more power efficient. It's still faster at lower TDPs. But the 11400H is actually massively improved over the 10500H. So the MSI GF63 with the 11400H and an RTX 3050 coming at around 56,000 rupees is actually a very good deal. But there are some pros and cons that you must keep in mind with the MSI GF63. I'm telling you because I have detailed experience with the MSI GF65 thin. So all these things apply on the MSI GF63 as well. So without any further ado, let's start with the pros of this laptop. So the pros it's very simple. 56,000 rupees and you get an Intel Core i5-11400H. You get a RTX 3050. I'll come to the RTX 3050 in a bit. You also get a 144Hz display. So that's a sweet package for 56,000 rupees. What else do you want, right? And yeah, the RTX 3050 will have access to DLSS. The RTX 3050 is a 40 watt RTX 3050, so it's not like a super powerful 85 watt RTX 3050 or something like that, but it is actually faster than a GTX 650. There is this channel, I'll link it down in the description, which has done detailed testing on the MSI GF63, and the benchmark that he has put forward, like the numbers that he has shown is actually better than a 50 watt GTX 650. So for a 40 watt RTX 3050 that goes up to 45 watts is actually faster than a GTX 650 in every game by a little bit, and that's without using DLSS. If you use DLSS on the games that support it, like most games these days support DLSS 2.0 and above, so if you use DLSS, then the RTX 3050 is significantly faster than a 1650, even when you compare the 40 watt variant. So you can go and look at his channel. He has done some great analysis. He has shown many game footages, and yeah, you can judge from that. So the 3050 is definitely an upgrade over the 650, even if you take consideration about the lower TGP in this laptop. It is 40 watt, but again, it's only coming at around 56,000 rupees, so that's great. In terms of video production, if you're trying to purchase a laptop for video editing, 3D rendering, you want to use Blender, you want to use softwares like DaVinci Resolve and all those things, then this one will be a massive upgrade over a GTX 650 laptop, because these RTX 3050s have the new RTX encoders, which are significantly faster and better quality than the old Volta encoders inside the GTX 650. Also, these have access to APIs like the optics rendering engine, which will bring you great performance in applications like Blender. So yeah, if you're purchasing a laptop for content creation, you want something which will be which will help you produce high quality videos, encode and decode high quality 4K footage, then this 3050 will help you a lot. However, I do want to say that still at this price range, I still prefer the Acer Aspire 3 when it comes to content creation, because the RTX 2050 is basically an RTX 3050 with a cut down memory bus. So it's only 64-bit memory bus, and the 2050 has lower TGP at 35 watts. But overall, the CUDA cores, Tensor cores, RT cores are all same, and the performance is not that different in terms of productivity. That's what I'm talking about. And also the Acer Aspire 3 has access to the Intel Core i5-11400H, which is a 12th gen processor. It's got 10 cores, and it's got better video encoders, like the Intel ID60 graphics are better in this 12th gen compared to the Intel 11th gen. Okay, and also the Acer Aspire 3 has access to the Thunderbolt 4 port, which means you can connect external GPUs to the Acer Aspire 3. It's the cheapest laptop with a Thunderbolt 4 port, so that's a amazing feature. You can connect an external graphics card in an external box to the Acer Aspire 3 and get further performance. So if you're looking for a content creation laptop in this budget, I still prefer the Acer Aspire 3 just because of these features like 12th gen Intel Core processor and also the support for Thunderbolt 4. But otherwise, the MSI GF63 is also a good option. The other big feature of the MSI GF63 is that I haven't tested it, but I've tested it on the MSI GF65, and I believe the GF63 also has this feature, that is, you get access to MSI's advanced BIOS. So you can tweak the processor, the processor characteristics in the MSI advanced BIOS. You can undervolt it directly on the BIOS, or you can enable undervolting using the MSI advanced software, advanced BIOS, and you can tweak the settings and you can tweak the processor characteristics to a great extent. Like there is no other manufacturer, no other laptop manufacturer that gives you this much control to the laptops. So MSI is providing this MSI advanced BIOS. So if you're an expert, if you know what you're doing, then you can really fine tune the machine to the way you want with the MSI GF63. So yeah, overall the MSI GF63 is a good laptop in terms of the pros. It's got good processor, good GPU in this price range. 40 watt 3050 is still respectable in this price range. 140 Hz display. So for a gaming machine, it is quite well suited. Also for content creation, the RTX 3050 will be a great choice again in this budget. But there are some cons to this laptop as well that you must know. So the biggest con of this laptop is that it has only one fan. That is actually a really big drawback that I feel. So in my experience, the MSI GF65, that laptop thermal throttled like the moment you do any kind of CPU throttle intensive tasks. So that MSI GF65 has got two fans. It has the same chassis as the MSI GF63, but the MSI GF65 has got two fans. But even with extreme fan settings, like it will sound like a jet, still the laptop will have a hard time controlling the thermals. You have to undervolt the laptop. Yes, after undervolting, the thermals come down way lower and there is no throttling, and then you can again control the clock speeds and all that, and you can get good performance, get a good balance of performance and thermals with the MSI GF65. But it will be harder for the MSI GF63 because the 11400H is definitely better than the 10500H, but still it will require about 65 watts in stuff like video production. When you are rendering it or using all core tasks, it will draw high power, and so with a single fan it will be difficult to maintain the temperatures in that laptop if you are doing tasks that require all the cores. Otherwise, I'm sure MSI has tuned the laptop keeping in mind the limits of the chassis. It won't explode like the MSI GF65. The MSI GF65, it always tries to reach the 4.5 GHz mark, and as a result it draws a lot of power and you have to undervolt to tame it. But I'm sure the MSI GF63 will not behave like that. As far as I've seen in the gaming tests, the CPU is actually throttled quite a lot. It doesn't draw that much power, and the clock speeds are at around 2.5 to 3 GHz. Barely it goes above 4 GHz. So in that aspect it is good, but again in all core loads, if you're using Blender and all those things, then the CPU will probably go quite high. And as days go past, as the laptop collects dust and all those things, then it will be more and more difficult for you to keep the laptop quieter and cooler. So that's one thing you must keep in mind. It is a gaming laptop with a 11400H 6-core CPU and an RTX 3050, but only has one fan. That's a big drawback. The second thing will be battery life. The battery life of the MSI GF65 was trash, and so will be the MSI GF63. The MSI GF63 has, I think, got a 51 point something watt hour battery, and the 11400H is not really a battery champion. So you'll have poor battery life, that's a guarantee. That's why, again, for content creation, I recommend buying the Acer Aspire 3, because that one has a a CPU, a 1240p, which is similar to an 11400H and a 5600H, but it requires only 28 watts. So it has a much more efficient processor, the 1240p. So again, in terms of battery life, I prefer the Acer Aspire 3 for content creation. So you'll have bad battery life. So these two are actually pretty big things that you must keep in mind. So the single fan thermal solution, and also a very poor battery life. So you have to choose, like, whether you are willing to sacrifice these two things to get the RTX 3050 and 11400H in this price range, and also 144 display. So yeah, the overall the MSI GF63 is looking like a good deal in my opinion, but these were some things that you must keep in mind before purchasing this laptop. Do some research on past MSI GF63's performances, the thermal performance, GF65, because these are all the same type of chassis. They share the same thermal characteristics. Only the MSI GF63 is even further kneecapped by just having one fan. So yep, that's all I want to talk about this laptop, guys. More videos are coming, so stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, then please subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts on the MSI GF63. Are you considering purchasing the laptop? Or if you have purchased this laptop, then do let me know what is the performance like. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Take care. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.